Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something big, a clash that feels, well, pretty defining for the future of creativity.
It really does. You've got this cherished world of handcrafted animation, Studio Ghibli, Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke.
Incredible films.
Yeah.
And on the other side, the biggest name in generative AI right now, OpenAI.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this isn't just like a standard corporate dispute, is it?
No, not at all. This feels more fundamental. It's like the whole philosophy behind human-made art is directly challenging the data-driven engine of AI.
So our mission today is to really unpack this formal complaint that's pushed everything into the spotlight. It comes from CODI, the Content Overseas Distribution Association.
That's right, a major Japanese group representing publishers and studios. And they're basically telling OpenAI, stop. Stop training your AI on our copyrighted work unless you ask us first and get permission.
Explicit, prior permission. That's the key.
Exactly. And this is such a high-stakes deep dive because, we're talking about setting the rules here. The legal lines, the ethical boundaries for how AI gets to use, well, all of human creativity.
And when the creative work is as iconic, as instantly recognizable as Ghibli's style, it makes the problem really, really sharp, doesn't it? It absolutely does. It forces that question. Should incredibly unique, stylized art get some kind of special protection when a machine can just replicate it, like instantly? That's the million-dollar question, maybe billion-dollar. Okay, so let's dig into that. Why Ghibli? Why are they the perfect symbol for this whole fight rather than, say, Disney or another huge studio?
Well, part of it is just how distinct that Ghibli style is. It's not just famous, it's a visual language, what lawyers might call highly stylized. And they felt the impact immediately, even before this formal CODA complaint.
You mean as soon as those AI image tools popped up?
Yeah, exactly. When OpenAI released its image generator, DALL-E, what did people immediately start doing?
Making everything Ghibli style. I remember that flood.
Right. The specific colors, the textures, the way characters look, the fantasy architecture, it all became a prompt. The AI learned it from the training data, and suddenly anyone could type in the style of Ghibli.
And wasn't Sam Altman himself, OpenAI's CEO, using a Ghibli-esque profile picture on X for a while?
He was, which kind of underlines the point, doesn't it? It shows just how desirable and recognizable that specific aesthetic is.
It's a bit ironic, yeah. The very thing making the AI output appealing is the thing they took without asking.
Precisely. And now the worry is ramping up hugely because of Sora, OpenAI's video generator.
Right, the potential for longer, more complex animated sequences.
Yeah. And Coda is saying, look, this is just not sustainable. If AI can potentially create whole scenes, maybe even features that look and feel like Ghibli, but without any Ghibli artists involved, well, what happens to the value of the original?
It definitely feels like it devalues the painstaking work that goes into the real thing. And this ties into OpenAI's whole approach, doesn't it? Their strategy around using creative materials seems, well, aggressive.
It's certainly been effective for rapid growth, but yeah, aggressive is one word for it. Their general model seems to be use it now, figure out the permissions, or fight the lawsuits later.
Get the data, train the model, dominate the market first.
Pretty much. Train on the widest data set possible, get ahead technologically, and then deal with the objections as they come, and they are coming, not just from Coda and Ghibli.
We've seen authors, artists, news outlets.
Right. Even estates like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s raising flags about AI replicating likenesses without consent. It's a broad pushback.
Okay, so this brings us squarely to the legal side, because how this plays out really depends on the laws in different places. And there's a massive difference between the U.S. and Japan here, isn't there?
Oh, it's night and day. A really stark contrast. In the U.S., the main legal framework we're looking at is copyright law, which, well, it hasn't really been majorly updated since 1976.
Wow, 1976. So completely pre-digital, pre-internet, definitely pre-AI.
Exactly. And that old framework leaves a lot of room for argument, especially around this concept called fair use.
Ah, fair use. The big exception in U.S. copyright law. How does that shield AI companies?
Well, the argument AI companies make is that when their systems ingest vast amounts of copyrighted data, they aren't just making copies, they claim it's a transformative use.
Meaning they're using it for a fundamentally different purpose, like teaching the AI, not reselling the book or image.
That's the core argument. Using the data to teach the system is seen as a new transformative function. And under the 4 factors of fair use analysis in the U.S., that argument often gives AI training a lot of legal cover. It makes the U.S. environment generally quite permissive for AI development right now.
And didn't we just see a court case involving Anthropic, another AI company, that kind of confirmed this?
We did, and it was a really important signal. A federal judge basically ruled that using copyrighted books specifically for training the AI model, that part did not violate U.S. copyright law.
Hold on. So the training itself was legally okay.
Under that interpretation of fair use, yes. Now, Anthropic still got into trouble, but it was for how they got the books, apparently illegally, not for the act of feeding them into the AI for training purposes.
So the acquisition was the problem, not the training. That's the crucial distinction the court made. And it essentially tells AI companies in the U.S., if you can get your hands on the data legally, the training process itself is likely protected under fair use. That ruling was a huge boost for OpenAI's whole model, at least here in America.
Okay, so if the U.S. is relatively open territory for AI training, what Kodo's arguing under Japanese law sounds like the complete opposite. This must create a huge headache for a global company like OpenAI.
It's a direct conflict. Cody and the Japanese coalition are working from a much stricter interpretation of copyright. Their statement was pretty clear. They said something like, in Japan, when specific copyrighted works are reproduced or similarly generated, the replication during AI training may constitute infringement.
Wow, during AI training. That's much more direct, less wiggle room than transformative use. Far less. Practically, it means that whole use first, deal with it later strategy hits a wall in Japan. Japanese law tends to demand permission before you use the work, particularly if the AI's output ends up looking a lot like the original input, which, with Ghibli, happens all the time. So Coda's essentially saying, forget fair use arguments. If your AI spits out something that looks like our stuff, the training itself was probably illegal without prior permission. That's the gist of it. They're demanding a fundamental shift, connect the output back to the input. If the output mimics copyrighted work, the training needs to be justified up front, likely through licensing.
This legal demand, it feels like it connects directly back to the soul of the issue for creators like Ghibli. It's not just about money, is it? It's about the art itself.
Absolutely. Ghibli isn't just a studio. It represents this deep commitment to human artistry, to craft. And you really hear that echoed in the words of Hayao Miyazaki, the co-founder.
Right. While the studio itself hasn't made a specific statement on this Coda complaint, Miyazaki has been pretty clear about his feelings on AI in art before, hasn't he?
Oh, incredibly clear. There was that video clip from, 2016? It went viral for a reason.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. He was shown some AI-generated animation.
He was, and it was unsettling. This sort of jerky, zombie-like movement created by an AI. His reaction wasn't just disappointment, it was visceral disgust.
What did he actually say?
He famously called it an insult to life itself.
An insult to life itself. Wow. That's not just an artistic critique. That's a moral stance.
It really is. And it perfectly captures the Ghibli philosophy, right? That every single frame carries the touch, the time, the intention of a human being.
And that's the ethical foundation under Cody's legal challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fear isn't just competition, it's dilution.
Exactly. The worry for Ghibli, and really for artists everywhere, is this. If AI can perfectly mimic a style that took a lifetime of human dedication to perfect, what happens to the value of that unique human contribution? It risks turning it into just another data set, right? Something to be mined and replicated mechanically. Yeah, it potentially devalues the very thing that makes art special. The unique human perspective, the struggle, the time invested.
So, okay, let's try to bring this all together. We have Ghibli as this symbol of human craft. We have the U.S. law being kind of permissive under fair use. And then we have the strong Japanese demand for prior permission. What does this all signal for AI development moving forward?
Well, I think this move by Coda shows that major creative forces are moving beyond just writing critical articles or expressing concern. They're now using legal frameworks to demand actual control and, importantly, compensation.
They want to say and they want to cut, basically, because their work is the fuel.
It is the fuel for these models.
Yeah.
And because AI operates globally, this isn't just a Japan versus U.S. issue. This clash is forcing the definition of global rules. Where did the boundaries lie?
And those boundaries need to be drawn, like yesterday. So the big question is, will OpenAI try to negotiate with Coda, maybe license these iconic styles? Or are we headed for massive, drawn-out international court battles?
That's the uncertainty right now. But either way, the conversation about AI, copyright, and creative integrity, it's definitely not theoretical anymore. It's happening now in legal filings and boardrooms.
Which really leaves us, and you listening, with a fundamental question to think about, doesn't it?
It does. When you look at these two starkly different legal approaches, the U.S. model, which tends to shield AI training under fair use, and the Japanese model, which seems to demand upfront permission if the output is going to be similar.
Which path do you think better safeguards the future of truly unique human creativity in this age where data can be gathered and replicated so incredibly fast?
Yeah. Which system, the permissive American one or the more restrictive Japanese one, ultimately does a better job of protecting what makes human art, well, human? That's something we're all going to have to grapple with. The answer will shape the creative world for decades to come.